Tomorrow's art project, take two. My name is Ben Mack. I am autistic and I am a public artist. The type of public art that I do is, did I not write a book on relational aesthetics? It's called Relational Aesthetics. And it is a form of art where there isn't always an art object. It's about the relationships that are created between people. So the two primary kinds of art that I work on is one around discussions of conscious capitalism, and the other is around promoting Peace Day. Because I hold that to begin with having happiness, that we have to have a sense of peace. Now, right now I feel myself tearing up. It happens. It comes and it goes. And one of the biggest things in my life, in order for me to have happiness, is that no one freak out. That if I find myself crying in public, you don't call the police on me. Like, seriously. One of the beautiful things that I love about Asheville are the police are trained to act compassionately. I think it's called their CES program, I forget the acronym presently. That truly makes me feel safe here in Asheville. I paid my way through college as a magician. When I was 19, the Magic Castle gave me the Award of Merit, making me the youngest recipient in the history of that award. But I didn't really become an artist in my own mind until while at Bennington College, I incorporated my magic into what I referred to as natural philosophy, a type of show that in the 17th century would take different principles and show, for instance, a scientific experiment and show how that could relate to somebody's personal life. And so that's what I did. For me, this is a form of stimming. For me, I can calm myself down by doing this. For me, I watch the same movie again and again and again. I've watched Wag the Dog 500 times. So it goes, I like it. I was comforted to hear earlier when it was celebrated, the notion about, you know what, if it works for you, do it. In my pursuit of happiness, I want to ask, how many of you have heard of Buckminster Fuller? The majority of the room here, not everybody. Buckminster Fuller taught at Black Mountain College. When I was 12, I spent 3 days interviewing him for what became a book that was recently republished called Fuller's Earth, A Day with Bucky and the Kids. And in the book, you can see pictures of me as a 12-year-old interviewing Buckminster Fuller. He coined the word synergy and invented the geodesic dome, the shape of the Epcot Center at Disney World. But many of his gifts to humanity are no longer attributed to him, like the basic idea of doing more with less. That's a phrase he popularized, and yet we no longer connect that with Buckminster Fuller. One of Bucky's proteges was Mark Victor Hansen from Chicken Soup of the Soul. And Mark Victor Hansen credits Buckminster Fuller's ideas to helping him popularize what has become the most popular book series that is a non-religion series in the history of publishing. Chicken Soup for the Soul has sold over 1 billion copies so far. I credit Buckminster Fuller for work that I did when I was at J. Walter Thompson at the age of 34. I became the director of brand planning for J. Walter Thompson Los Angeles. And the strategy that I worked on helped repopularize yo-yos. The American Marketing Association credits me as the strategist who repopularized yo-yos in the 1990s, what People magazine called one of the top 10 trends of the 1990s. How did I do it? I applied the ideas of Buckminster Fuller. My work has regularly and repeatedly as an artist and in life circled around to Buckminster Fuller's ideas. This is my first novel. It's called Poker Without Cards. In Poker Without Cards, the idea is that I'm spreading what I call the Bucky virus. The idea that once you ingest the ideas of Buckminster Fuller, that you can never actually get them out of your head thereafter. However, the Buckminster Fuller Institute dislikes having the Buckminster Fuller ideas referred to as a virus. They've told me straight up, you know what, Bucky's ideas are not viruses. And I'm like, well, with modern day memetics, the idea of a meme and the idea of a mind virus, that ideas can be looked at as a virus, pardon me, we really don't have a chance for happiness, because I go back to the ideas of Maslow, that until we have a certain sense of safety, that we can't experience higher senses of self-expression and those elements. And so it comes back at times to a daily practice, to how can I first bring peace to myself? How can I then experience peace with others? And what can I do to help have peace with the world around us? Little things help. This backpack is made from recycled plastic. I don't know if you guys know this, but every year on Spaceship Earth presently, we produce in new plastic the equivalent of the weight of half of the humans on Earth. Here in the United States, where we tend to use 8 times more than in other countries, that means that it takes 4 times your weight to sustain our current lifestyle in the United States. Well, when I was 12, Buckminster Fuller presented a lot of these ideas to me, and I said to Buckminster Fuller, you appear to me as happy, and yet you're presenting all of these challenges in terms of where we are as a global society. How is it that you can do this? And he said, well, Ben, it's because serious men like you and me, which was a big head trip. I was 12. I'm just saying serious men like you and me. That we hold the space that, because serious men like you and me that hold the space, that we'll create the solution, that creates the space necessary to make the solutions. So it's really the smart way to be. Plus, it just feels better. So Buckminster Fuller taught me a notion of reciprocating torus. And that was the key to my repopularizing yo-yos. So a reciprocating torus is a topological term, and in essence, it's the shape of a bagel. Not necessarily a massagio bagel, but a bagel. And reciprocating means that there's fluidity to it. So the inside becomes the outside, and the outside becomes the inside. And so Buckminster Fuller suggested that the shape of a reciprocating torus was very much like the human experience. And so, in essence, something within us, whether it be our mind, our brain, or our body, navigates us and takes us into an environment like we're here right now. And then the environment that we're in saturates us and affects our inside, which changes our trajectory, that takes us into new environments. And it's a constant ongoing process of our inside affecting where we take ourselves to those new outsides that affect our insides, and that the shape of the reciprocating torus is perhaps a different model for the human experience. Now, what Bucky suggested also was simply that the notion of a pattern integrity is that something is a pattern integrity when it has an integrity outside of the medium through which it's experienced. What does that mean in terms of branding? Well, in terms of branding, it means that every touch that you have with a product or entity hopefully communicates something. So I worked very hard on the notion that my work around Peace Day communicates a notion that I'm wishing peace on us. Extraordinarily challenging when I'm at the Asheville Art Museum and the internet isn't working 3 minutes prior to when we're supposed to go live with people from Earth University. They sent me the shirt, by the way. Earth University is down in Costa Rica, where they invented Peace Day. You see, 33 years ago, the United Nations took a vote and they said, you know what, wouldn't it be good to have peace one day a year? And 33 years ago, the member nations of the United Nations said, yes, you know what? It would be good and smart for us to have peace one day a year. And you know how many days we've done it so far? 0. None. To me, this is a marketing problem. To me, if we create the awareness of Peace Day, if the citizens create the awareness of Peace Day, we can create the demand on the governments to celebrate it. And that's where David Guerrero's idea of the wave around the world comes into play. Because if we can get people around the world to stand up for peace, I hold that we stand a much better chance of bringing a global celebration of peace one day into fruition. The element of subjectivity in all of this is interesting and extraordinary to me. From a young age, I have experienced magic as life, and life as being far more subjective than most people allow. When I was 13 and got my first mentor in magic, he explained to me something that was called sight retention. There's a magic trick where, do you know what the difference is between making an object vanish and making an object disappear is? Yeah. If you make an object vanish, it's gone forever. If you make it disappear, it's there, it's simply invisible. So by making it disappear, it's right there, it's just invisible. Snapping your fingers, it reappears.
Wow.
Now here's the thing. I'm going to give away the magic trick. I'm doing what's called palming. It stays in this hand. A fascinating thing, though, is that when I palm like that, many people's minds will see the coin fall, because that's what we're expecting to see. We so often see what we're expecting to see. When I went to work in internet marketing, specifically after the branding stuff, and I worked with people in eye tracking, and they explained to me that we're actually only getting new information like about this